So I decided to fit a oil catch can on my Peugeot Partner 1.6 HDI, and there's several designs that could be done, but I'm going with particular way, the different ways to go about doing that. So basically what I've decided to do, put silicone hoses around here with alloy that has a spout to go into the catch can. So let me show you the bag of goodies that I've ordered from autosiliconehoses.com. I'm not really affiliated with them, but they were probably the best. So this is one of the silicone hoses. So it's a description of this I'll have in the description of the video, so what kind of sizes. So this is 76 millimeters going to 51 reduction with a 45-degree angle. So I have a fluoro lined silicone hose, so in order for the silicone not to degrade and so on. So I have some alloy wheel, 135 degrees alloys, and here is the one where the cool gases will come from the catch can into the intake. And I have this black hose is a 25 millimeter fuel and oil safe, so this will go from the crankcase to the catch can and the other way around, so it doesn't really degrade. So I'll really show how I'm thinking of fitting this, and then dismantle a few parts and do it. Okay, so this is how I'm thinking to go about this. So this is the 45 degrees, so I'll have to cut it to size. So to clip to the and I'll have to cut it somewhere here. I have to measure it correctly, and then probably cut it somewhere around here. Then the spigot, so not the spigot, the T alloy piece will go like that. I'll hold it like that for a moment. Then I have a joining thing, so this will bolt to here and will turn around and go to the turbo. Right, so this goes into the catch can, and so this comes back from the catch can. And crucially, the design of the 1.6 HDI is that this is really integral to the crankcase. So with the there is a difference with the 1.6 TDCI, the Fords and so on. So the airbox is somewhere here, and this curves around like that. So it's slightly easier than the 1.6 HDI. So I really bought. This is from Ford 1.6 TDCI. It's in the description as a part number. So this really fits perfectly into the crankcase instead of this joint here, the plastic. So I'll run the hose from that. It's roughly about 25 mil. So run the exhaust gases. Well, the exhaust gases, the crankcase gases will go from here. So well, this is it. So I'll dismantle those and the pipes, and try to measure and cut this off and try to fit it. So there's a bit of oil. So there is a bit of oil inside. So I'll try to shine it. Can't quite be seen, but there is a slight amount of oil inside, but not too drastic. So, but I can try to minimize that with a catch can. So here's the fourth part, how it fits. It's basically the same as the Peugeot part, so the hose will come through here. So it's actually much more convenient to use that one. So cutting is fairly easy. So one of these clips, put it around, tighten it of course to whatever one wants. So I've tightened this up, so now mark it along. Then we have a Stanley knife or anything else with a brand new blade, not really an old blade but a brand new blade, and then we can start cutting next to the band, and certainly we should be careful with fingers. So we then untighten it, move this around, so because there is a stop here. So now we can cut it. And that is a pretty decent cut, pretty smooth, and can be used. It's not perfect. There is a bit of a piece here, but it's fairly smooth and not really in bits and pieces. So I'll cut the rest to size. This is how it finally looks like. So this is the reducer. So I've cut it here and here, so it's much shorter. This is the T alloy piece with the spout coming here. A joiner for this alloy, and then this goes into the turbo. And this is actually the Ford Focus piece for the crankcase, so it will go here. Then that's my hose. So currently I'll probably put it like that just to see that it works, and then I'll put the catch can. It's not really ideal. There is a slight slope here. So, but these will mostly be clean gases, so they will have no oil to condense and go back, and there will be a flow of air coming here. Basically, the problem is this air pipe is just in the way, so it kind of stops it moving there. So I could potentially put a silicone pipe here that goes somewhere here, and then I can drop this down. So, but then this one I can put some sort of a 45-degree angle coming down here, so probably be better, and this could be dropped down. But for the moment it's actually it's actually alright. This is the fluoro lined hose, silicone hose, so because, well, it's unlikely that there will be any oil, but still oil resistant. This is also fluoro oil resistant. This is not, but this only air comes down here. This is alloy, so it will come down there. How it looks inside, I mean, you can't quite see much. That's how it is. So nearly there. So just connect the this hose, which is a fuel hose. Well, it says water hose, but it's a fuel hose, so it's resistant to the oil that comes out of the crankcase. So I'll just route it to here as it currently is, so to test that this hose system works and it doesn't shake, and so on. So I've put the hose, so this is from the crankcase and goes into the intake and goes into the turbo. This is just a temporary, so I can test any leaks and so on. So I haven't put the clamp here and a clamp there, but basically that's the current setup. So I put some something to hold it a bit tighter here. Doesn't seem too tight, but so this is, and then this will actually go straight to the catch can. This is just for test purposes, so because the gases will probably cool down here and they'll drip back, so this is not ideal, but otherwise we'll go down to the catch can, from here to the catch can, and then from the catch can will come down here, so they already cool that come back, so it's not really that a problem. So this is the catch can that I've decided to fit on the car. I really spent a lot of time looking and for catch can, and finally decided to use that one. I really have a whole video review of this catch can. So this is MASO oil catch can, is a very similar copy of the Provent 200. So very quickly and very briefly go through some of the positives, some of the negatives of this catch can and why I decided to use it. So the first thing, well, it's plastic, very sturdy plastic. The ports are 25 millimeters, so this is fairly large ports, and it's got a drain tube that goes into the sump, the oil sump. So I'll show what I do with that. So one really good thing about this catch can is that it has a pressure relief valve. So if the pressure is really increased, it has a pressure relief valve. It's got a seal that seals against here. So this pressure relief valve, if the pressure coming in is very high, it will open, so the gases will escape in between here. So the gases really come around here, swirl, go inside. So it's a metal element. The particles or the oil droplets coalesce on this metal mesh and drop down here. That's inside of it. It has a bracket that is removable, so I can actually remove it. Well, that dropped somewhere, I have to find it later. The two negative things of this catch can is that this really small size fitting oil is really small. It can't really collect a lot of oil, so it's only that space. So that's why one needs a hose on here, like a PVC hose, connected something like this. So something like this with a valve at the end to release and close the oil, so it collects here. The next thing, but otherwise it seems pretty good catch can. So the one problem, really substantial problem, is that this is kind of pressure relief, not pressure relief, but regulates pressure, this valve. So there is a lip inside. So if I close this one, I'm not too sure if it's visible, but there is very little but there is very little space between the valve and this lip, so there is very limited space, so one could potentially remove that one, stick something in on top and block this one. Otherwise the ports are, but I tried blowing into that one or the other one and the flow is pretty good. Well, that's it. I mean, check my video for the review of this catch can and his design. It's a little bit more thorough. So where can I place this catch can in the car? So I've decided to put the catch can here on the right because there was a bit of space. There is nowhere else space in the car. So they'll point that way, so I'll make an elbow joint to go in there, and this probably also a bit of an elbow joint. The bracket is fairly sturdy. I mean, the hoses are pretty good, so I'll probably tie it as well. It's not the best looking bracket, but there was really, I couldn't figure out some other place. There is a box underneath, so I can really move that one anywhere, but it's fairly stable. So this is where it's gonna sit, the catch can, and now to the hoses. So I forgot really to say about this. Is a PVC hose, and that's the end bit. Is just a gas stop valve, so it's basically turn off and on. What I've put at the end is just a stop bit, so with a bit of a part of a PVC hose, just in order if something drips, it doesn't really drip if anything leaks through here, but it shouldn't. So I'll put it on the oil catch can and see how I've positioned it on the car. And this is how it finally looks like. It's not really very pretty. So what I have here, this comes from here, goes up there, and then goes in the catch can. So the catch can is there with the brackets. So the exhaust one come through here, turn around, and go into the intake. I mean, these are brass or copper. Well, I could have bought something to match the alloy, but for the moment I'll replace them probably later on. So here underneath, is the pipe that comes out of the catch can. So it's pretty long pipe, goes to the bottom of the car. So this is from the Ford part. I'm just trying to think of. These are a bit ugly and too many of these clamps. But the problem is there is nowhere really to put the catch can, to put it anywhere. So let me show you underneath. So this is how it's underneath. So here is the bottom bit is fairly far away from the tire, so even if it's open it will drip somewhere in the middle. So it's not really, I initially thought to put it somewhere here, but it's way too close to the tire. Unfortunately the hose is fairly close to the, that has to be on the off position, not on the on. It's fairly close to the radiator, but I'll see if I can. I have to tie this, and I'll see if I can position it somewhere else. And I completely admit it's not the prettiest of all. So I could have bought this in fluoro, the same blue color, but they're fairly expensive, so I didn't really buy those. So I bought fairly cheap fuel safe rubber. But that's it. It's not the prettiest, but it's fairly functional. So next thing is to start it up, see if any gases, a drive test, and then I'll open this to see if any gases come out, and if it actually can go through here. So next is to see that. So here is the catch can working. It's pretty solid actually. So let's open it to see what's going on inside. Not really that much, nothing really, not that much blow by. There is a bit like water inside. They're collecting, but there isn't much blow by. We'll see. Kind of a long-term test. I can smell gases coming in, but it's not really bad at all. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully it's useful to somebody, and if you have any questions, let me know. Suggestions as well, also more than welcome. Subscribe, and I'll test this oil catch can when it collects a bit of fluid, see what it is, perhaps do some analysis on that one. Thank you.